close my eyes, I open my heart, I'll take a deep breath, let the healing start. I lift my hands, I plant my feet, I let love in, I feel the beat that's calling us to rise, rise, spirit rise up, rise in me. I let in my soul, I clear my mind, I'm here and now, in present time. I feel the power of 1,000 suns lighting up the dark. Oh, we rise as one. Oh, rise, rise, spirit rise up, rise in me. You sing to me, change up this noise, make sweet harmony. Come on and rise, oh rise, spirit rise up, rise in me. Oh, rise, rise. To heart, hand in hand, no turning back, onward to promised land. Do you feel the power of 1,000 suns lighting up the dark? Oh, we rise as one. Love's calling, calling out your name. Love's calling, that's why we came. Love's calling, calling out your name. Love's calling, that's why we came. Rise,
Greetings. Greetings. I'm Reverend Deborah Johnson, and welcome to Inner Light Ministries Sunday virtual offering. I'd like to thank Faith Rivera from Hawaii for that wonderful musical invocation. We're going to be sharing with you some of her videos. She's a really profound, deep, beautiful, beautiful spirit. I haven't seen her personally in the last couple of years, but she's been to our center, no stranger to Inner Light. And I'm so pleased that we're able, through virtual technologies now, to be able to still be together and minister together, even though we may not physically be in the same place. Welcome. Regardless of wherever it is that you are in time and space, regardless of what your belief system is, welcome. Welcome. At Inner Light, we're a quite eclectic community. We have everybody here from interfaith to atheist. We have vegans and carnivores. We have anarchists and people who are deeply political. We go the gamut because that's how life is. There's only one of us here. There's no judgment. We're not trying to convert you to anything. We stand on what we call universal spiritual principles, the stuff that's going to be true anywhere across time, any culture, any tradition, the stuff that is the stuff of life itself, principles that you can use, ancient wisdom practically applied to today's circumstances and conditions. You don't have to believe our interpretation. We're putting something forth out there for you to think about, for you to contemplate, for you to try, for you to get your own revelations, your own revelation. See, in the midnight hour, you can't sleep based on somebody else's peace. In those moments where you need some courage and strength, you can't stand on somebody else's knowledge. You have to stand on your own. So, what we are about at Inner Light is helping to equip us for this thing called life, for the healing, for the growth, for the transformations that take place. We offer tools for living that encourage this practical application that I'm talking about of these universal spiritual principles to all of life's circumstances, all of them. Don't pigeonhole spirituality into just a little box or little container where you think it's just for this situation, but not for that. It's for all of it, from personal to professional to political, large, small, the same principles work. Macro, micro. If you listen to my messages, you'll hear that I'm always going back and forth between the two, between the application of what I'm talking about at an individual level and also what this means on a collective level. And I encourage you to do the same thing, that as you're listening, just think about, what does all of this mean for my life? What does this mean for my family's life? What does this mean for my community? What does this mean for our nation? What does this mean for the world? Whatever environment that you find yourself in, we ask you to, our motto is, take this consciousness and multiply it. Dare to apply it. One of the things that we offer every week are affirmative activations. These are 100 words to change your life. These are concepts. They are principles. They are practices. They're processes. They're framings, ways to look at things. But they are designed to recalibrate you. They are designed for you to come back, we're just exposing you to it, but it won't actually take hold in your life unless you repeat it. It's kind of like planting a seed. You have to unearth something. You have to put it in the ground and nurture it in order for it to grow some roots. First the roots, then the fruits. So these are seeds, but in order for you to get the fruits, you're going to have to plant it. Plant it in your heart and plant it in your mind. Our topic today is about believing in ourselves. If you are at all able at this very moment, I want to encourage you to say the affirmations out loud with me as they appear on your screen. Nothing in life is linear. Everything circles and spirals. We're patient with life's processes as they cycle and recycle. Change is evolutionary. It takes time. Backlashes are the denial of and resistance to inevitable change. We pay more attention to the forward motion than efforts to thwart it. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. We honor all aspects of ourselves, even that which fears. Fear must dissipate in the light of truth. We never deny in the darkness what was revealed in the light. We expand our capacity to be our highest selves. Just breathe that in for a moment. And before we get into today's message, I am going to invite Faith Rivera to come back in with another video just to help set the stage, open up our hearts and our minds for this message about believing in ourselves.
Something great is happening. Love has taken hold and it won't let go of us now.
Something here is calling us forward, upward motion with drops in one ocean. Roll on.
Will you rise up with me today? Lift up your voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for.
Live the dream of your highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now.
Every day's a chance you can do something amazing to feel your passion blazing and shine.
Paint with every vision, dance in new directions, explode to new heights in your mind.
I will rise up with you today.
Lift up my voice.
Lift up my voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for.
Live the dream of your highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Hey. One dream, one voice, one heart, one word. One dream, one voice, one heart, one word. Stand together. One dream, one voice, one heart, one word. Stand together. Live the dream of your highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Yeah, yeah. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's the moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Stand together. Live the dream of a new day dawning. Be the ones who can make a share your gifts. Stand together now. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's the moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Stand together. Live the dream of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together now. Stand together.
Thank you. Thanks to Faith Rivera and to Harold Payne for that original composition. Today, we're talking about believing in ourselves. I just got back from an extraordinary trip. The last few virtual offerings here were pre-recorded as I was away for the last 3 weeks, just getting back, primarily in the rainforests of Ecuador, also in the Andes. I was on an extended journey through the Pachamama Alliance, an organization that partners with indigenous peoples for protection of the rainforest and the sacred headwaters in the Amazon areas there. I'm pleased to say I've been on the board of directors of Pachamama Alliance for the past 12 years, actually since my first journey to the Amazon that I did 12 years ago. In this extended journey, we spent a great deal of time with the indigenous tribes, primarily the Achuar tribe, and a little bit with a tribe called the Sapara. Now, just to get you to kind of see the picture here and where I'm going with this, these are tribes in the Amazon in Ecuador near the Peruvian border that were never colonized. Okay, they're so far up there into the forest, the colonialists couldn't even get to them. And a decision was made a few decades ago for a change of heart as they looked about and could see the destruction that was happening in the rainforest, the oil companies that were coming in and the other companies, of realizing that there was just a really great threat. Now, here are tribes that have been living the same traditions that they've been living for thousands of years. The Achuar didn't even have money. I first learned about them through a book called The Soul of Money by Lynn Twist, who's one of the founders of the Pachamama Alliance, along with her husband, Bill Twist, and John Perkins. I'm pleased to say I also serve on the faculty of her Soul of Money Institute. And I remember when I first was reading about these Achuar tribes, through her book, just really being fascinated by it because it was this glimpse in history that you rarely ever have a chance to see, where there were groups who were making the decision to engage the so-called modern world, making that conscious choice and decision. So imagine this dilemma that you have here, where your whole way of life, the millions of acres of territory that have been part of you've been the custodian for, is under threat by a society that's mad on materialism. And yet, in order to protect this land, in order to actually be able to maintain, it's going to require partnering with the very folks that you have perceived as being the problem. Listen to what I'm saying here. Okay. This is so beyond anything to do with the Achuar. I've been a professional diversity consultant for years, and this is something that I talk about all of the time. That in order for you to have progress, if you're going to have any kind of quote unquote non-violent social change, at some point in time, you're going to have to work with the very people that you've considered to be the problem. If you're the quote unquote oppressed group or the marginalized group, at some point in time, you're going to have to partner with them. Okay. That's just the way that it works. Okay. Slaves couldn't have ended slavery. Women were not in the position to give themselves the right to vote. It wasn't people with disabilities who could pass the American Disabilities Act. Anytime you have a pioneer, a first of anything, if you got the first Black man that's ever played baseball, well, that's because a lot of white managers and a lot of white league owners decided, hey, now it's time. Now it's time. I've recently personally relocated to the Las Vegas area, even though Interlight is still in Santa Cruz and I still go into Santa Cruz. And just this past Sunday, we had the WNBA All-Star game. And I had a chance to go to my first WNBA game not too long ago. And it's just extraordinary to see the amount of support, the embrace of the basketball world, period, the opportunities that these women now have. And it's because the very people who had shut them out before are in fact embracing. Okay. There's only one of us here. There's only one of us here. And if you get too much into identity politics, where you're busy just doing a bunch of othering or projecting onto groups that aren't quite the same as yours, all of your fears or anxieties or stereotypes or all the rest of that, you're going to miss it. You're going to miss the great opportunity to partner and to grow together. One of the things that really has impressed me so much about these indigenous tribes is the way in which they have organized. One of the first things that they had to do was stop fighting with each other. The Achuars are warriors. Make no mistake about it. And they are proud to be warriors. But in 1974, they actually made a pact, they made a truce not to be fighting with the other tribes. And what has happened over the past few decades is that the indigenous tribes all through the Americas, have been coming together, believing in themselves, organizing. Not, oh, woe is me, here comes a modern world, messing everything up. Oh, the sky is falling, No, no. Believing in themselves, believing in their history, believing in their traditions, believing in each other, and not allowing themselves to be afraid. Listen to what I'm saying. There's far too much fear going on, particularly in the so-called modern world, around the news and politics and Supreme Court decisions and who's doing what to whom, and elections and climate change and race relations. And I can go on and on. And in all of the anxiety, focusing on the negativity and all of the things that seem to be going bad and wrong, we're not seeing God anymore. However, that is that you conceive God to be. There is an organizing principle in the universe. There is a wisdom, there is an intelligence, there is something that is transcendent of all of that. It is sovereign of all of that. But we lose sight of that. We lose sight of that when our attention is so focused on people, places, and things, and all that seems to be out of alignment. One of the things that really impressed me about the Achuar and their connections and these new connections that they were finding with the so-called modern world, and I'll tell you why I keep saying so-called modern world, was that they were saying, look, it's great if you want to partner with us, but if you're coming here thinking that you're just helping us, then you need to just leave, because that's not going to do any good. But if you understand that your fate is intricately intertwined with ours, then let's work together. And part of your job is to go back to your so-called modern world and awaken out of your dream. This dream of materialism that has you so hypnotized that you no longer see yourself as one with the planet or one with each other. This dream of yours that allows you to believe that you were somehow at the top of the food chain and that the planet is just some resource here for you to do whatever it is that you want to do. And the development of all of these extractive economies that are taking things out of the planet, but without replenishing it in a regenerative sort of way. Saying, you got to awaken from that. Whatever that mindset is that has you into that, you've got to get out of that. And I dare say that part of the reason that we get into that in the first place is because we stop believing in ourselves. See, the only thing that ever needs to be healed is the sense of separation. That's all. I don't care how big or small the problem is, comes from a sense of separation. And for too long, the modern quote unquote world has seen itself as separate from nature, as separate from the planet, separate from other species, separate from each other, separate from the divine. And when you're feeling all of this separation, you're not believing in yourself. when you're feeling all this separation, then your efforts keep becoming more and more external, trying to find something to fill what is essentially an existential hole in the soul. The reason why I say so-called modern is that having a chance to stay in these villages, many of whom now, as part of trying to find some other ways to build economies for sustainability, new ways of farming or growing things. A part of it is a move towards ecotourism, where there are these lodges and these facilities that are being built in these small villages and communities, where they clear out a, a portion to create a dirt airstrip, and little planes can come. I mean, little, like 4, 6 seaters, like that's it, with their permission. And then there are facilities that have been created there where people can come and, in fact, stay a few days. Some are a bit more modern than others in terms of, how they look. Some are really, still quite rustic. But this idea of being able to bring people in, okay, to partner with these same folks that are part of the consciousness that's destroying the land, to partner with some of these folks to bring them in for healing, to get another view that, yes, it brings some money into the territory, but there's also something that happens to us. There's also something that happens to those of us who are going in and who are witnessing and participating. The sense of community that I experienced there 12 years ago when I was there, and then again, just coming back, was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Where everybody belongs. Everybody's a part. The practice of the Achuar throughout all of their villages is to start their day at 4 a.m. Ecuador, the equator. They're there at the equator. So it's essentially pretty much year long, sun up at 6, sundown at 7. You have the pre-dawn and the dusk, that happens on each end of that. It isn't just like go dark or just like suddenly light up, but 6 to 6 is kind of it. So at 4 a.m., they gather together as family. This is the time to connect with each other. They have conversation. They resolve any issues. This is the time to teach the children, get very close to them. This is the time of sharing their dreams. It's a very big dream culture. And literally, everything from their artistic expressions to how they plan out and schedule their next days is deeply informed by the dreams that they share with one another and the interpretation of these dreams. And different cleansing and purging techniques and processes that they use, like on a regular basis. But the depth of believing in themselves, it was just so incredibly humbling. The connection to their plants for all kinds of healing, and the ability that I had to partake of some of that, particularly the plants that would heal scars and bites. My body is just riddled. It is just riddled now with mosquito bites. We were in the jungle. Um, and medicines that I took when my stomach was getting, like upset. This this understanding of enoughness, that everything that they have or that they need is right there. The connection still to spirit, and their understanding of themselves as being part of nature. So, in this kind of ironic way, we want to believe that because we're more technologically advanced, that somehow or another they're more primitive or that they're more behind. But my experience is that it's kind of a trade off, that there's certain ways in which, yes, the modern world is more advanced, but there's so many ways in which they were so much more advanced because they were believing in themselves. They were believing in each other. They were believing in family. They were believing in nature. They were believing in their connection with the divine. They were believing in a future and not getting all bent out of shape and afraid of what appeared to be coming down the pike. Think about your life. Just think about it for a moment. We make a God out of anything that we allow to define our possibility. What in your mind defines your possibility? What? Is it your income, your economic status? Is it your physical abilities? Is it the socio-political landscape? Is it your education or lack thereof in your mind? Just what exactly is that in your mind either limits or somehow is the source of your potentiality and your power? Don't make a God out of people, places, and things. Don't do it. When you look at literature, almost all of our stories, from ancient tales to more modern stories that we have now, like it's like Star Wars or those kinds of things, that kernel and fundamental to all of them is this notion of believing in yourself. Say, where you get some call and you go out and there's some obstacles that you have to face, some demons or whatever that is. And along the way to addressing these trials, these tribulations, these so-called obstacles, your strength is revealed. Your power is revealed. You think you're not enough. It all seems so incredibly insurmountable. but you're launched and you're born on the journey. On the journey. One of the famous stories that's sort of in our Judeo-Christian psyche is the story of the Exodus from Egypt into the promised land. These 40 years in the desert. Now, they weren't lost. Okay, they were getting ready over this time. They actually made it to the promised land within about a year of getting out of Egypt, but there were quote unquote giants in the land. And they spent the next 39 years in 39 different campsites, each with a name that represented what it was that was happening. And during this journey, they were becoming something. As a metaphor, no one that entered into the quote unquote promised land was somebody who had lived in captivity as a slave in Egypt. Moses, the one who was leading this sojourn, never made it into the promised land. This was an analogy that Martin Luther King Jr. made the night before he was assassinated, when he was telling the sanitation workers, saying, you know, look, I may not get there with you. I may not get there, but I've seen it. I've been to the mountaintop and I have seen the promised land. That was the experience of Moses. He got there, he saw it, but he couldn't enter it. Okay. The only ones that entered were the ones that were born on the journey. The ones that entered were the ones that were born on the journey. And such as it is with your life, such as it is with our life collectively. There's not just a jump from the caterpillar to butterfly. There's a metamorphosis portion that's in between, where with the imaginal cells of the caterpillar, everything just melts down into like a goo. But coated within the cells of the caterpillar is the butterfly that it is to be. But there is that goo. There's that metamorphosis meltdown where it's kind of not this and it's like kind of not that. And too often, as individuals and as a society and collectively, we stop believing in ourselves when we're in that goo, when we're in that in-between transformative place or state, because we can't see it. It doesn't quite feel like us. It's not where we were before, and it feels like loss instead of gain. And it feels like sometimes being at the mercy of outer sources or people, places, or things, or like whatever that is. And it's really easy to get stuck in that ego self that just wants things to stay the same. Our ego self isn't down for all this change and growth and all. It finds all of that very scary because it gets its sense of safety in the familiar. Okay. But growth requires change. Growth requires change. And you have to keep believing every step of the way. Our lives parallel nature because we're a part of nature. If you plant a seed, you don't get fruit right away. First the roots and then the fruits. But too often we stop believing because we don't see the fruit yet. So we want to deny that anything's happening or anything that's going on. Ideas are to our mind the same way that seeds are to the ground. Things have to go inside first. The ideas have to take root in your mind first before we can see the fruit of it in the outer experience. It takes patience. It takes patience. If I have apple seeds and I plant 40 acres of an apple seed and I go to you and I say, hey, look at my apple orchard. You're like, I don't see anything here but like a bunch of dirt. Is it an apple orchard or not? There's nothing that's sprung up. There aren't any trees. There are no apples. Is it an apple orchard? The question is yes. You can take that to the bank if you're a farmer. Why is it an apple orchard? Because the apple seeds are there. But you got to believe. You got to believe when it's just in the dirt. You got to believe when it's just a sprout. You have to keep believing in the apple orchard, even when the trees grow and there's just little buds and there aren't any apples. There's only going to be apples for a very specific time. Okay, when it's its season. And then those apples are going to fall off and the trees are going to look bare. It's the most amazing thing to me. I've had a chance to live close to apple orchards in the Santa Cruz area. And it's like they all got a memo. At the exact same time, they all start to blossom. And then apples fall off and they all go bare. At the exact same time. And then there's a cycle. And the apples come back again. And such as it is with life, nothing is linear. Nothing is linear. And when we look at the political landscape, and it feels like we're losing, or rights are being taken away, or everything's going like to a hell in a handbag, there's cycles. There's cycles. It's not linear. But whatever that is that you're fighting for, whatever that is that you want to see manifest, you have to keep nurturing that. You have to keep believing in it so its time can come back. Just like when you prune a tree. When you prune it, it looks dead. But you know what happens? In the cutting it back, it actually comes back stronger and more beautiful. Don't judge by the appearances in your life. Nothing's bigger than you are. Nothing is greater than you are. You have within you the power to be successful. You have within you the power to be happy, to be abundant, to be joy-filled, to be fulfilled. Just keep believing. Just keep believing. Don't give up on us as a society, as a democracy. Don't give up. Know what you know. Dare to affirm it. Dare to stand on it. Dare to believe it. dare to be it. Let's just take a breath. Take a breath, and we're going to take this to prayer. As we take a breath, breathing into the oneness of the only thing that is, that animates our very being, we surrender. We surrender not in defeat, but we surrender because there's no fight. We surrender because there's no struggle. We let go of all of the ought tos, the shoulds, the if I woulda, couldas, the things that weigh us down and burden us. We let go of the fears, the trepidation, the worries, the concern, the lack, the limitation. We also let go of the hopes, the dreams, the agendas, the timetables, the expectations, the goals. We lay them down and we yield. The saying we throw them away, we just don't have them front and center. We yield, like yielding to ongoing traffic, where we just slow down a little bit and we let something else go before us. We allow the Spirit of the living God to go before us. We allow divine order and right action, purpose and possibility to go before us. We allow healing and transformation, all needs met, to go before us. So that we're not asking the great divine to do our bidding, to bring us everything that we want. We open up wide and say, use us. Use us. How can we be the most perfect blessing? We offer all of ourselves up. The so-called good parts and the so-called bad parts, because we know that spirit wastes nothing. So all the things that we're afraid of, all the things that we are ashamed of, all of the things that we have guilt or judgment about, we lay them at the altar. And we allow the alchemy of the divine transform and to transmute them into something that is a blessing for all. We let go of the stories of not enoughness. And we live in the power of sufficiency. All needs met. We call it forth as right action. We call it forth as healing, as wholeness, as balance and courage and strength, as reconciliation, as forgiveness, as guidance, as vision. Call it forth as peace and joy and prosperity. It's all there because it's already who we are. We breathe into that. And standing this awareness, we just get out of the way. We get out of the way of the divine circuits and simply allow it to be. It's good. It's done. And accepting it as so and standing in it, we just allow it to be. And so it is. Take that breath. Mm. We're praying community at Inner Light. We have prayer practitioners who have trained for years to be able to know, to stand in that possibility consciousness with you, for you, to keep believing. You'll see scrolling across your screen right now are ways that you can contact us. Please, please send in your prayer requests. You can call them in at 831-465-9090, extension 254. You can email us as well. The number 4 in the word prayer at innerlightministries.com. And we will be there as soon as we get it. We start praying, and somebody will get back to you with your own personal prayer. All of this is confidential. It's not canned. It's not canned. There's no fee or charge. Of course, donations are always gladly accepted, but we're just here. We're just available to you as spiritual community. So whether it's something that's going on in your life of some loved one, something in the social, political, or broader environment that's disturbing you, or maybe it's something good and you're birthing something new, some collaboration or venture, and you just need somebody to stand with you in agreement for its divine right unfoldment. We're there. We're there. Please, please avail yourselves of it. We do many things at Inner Light, and I invite you to check us out, to go to our calendar and see what's up and the things that are going on. Some things are virtual. Some things are in person. I want to say thank you out to Centers for Spiritual Living, aka Science of Mind, aka Religious Science. They had different names. But it is an organization. I actually did my training under them and got my ministerial license under what's now the Centers for Spiritual Living banner. And with our close relationship, we've been participating in their teen camp for decades now, on the direction of our teen minister, Reverend Eileen Atanasio. And our teens just coming back from camp again this summer. And I just want to give a shout out to Centers for Spiritual Living and the wonderful job that you do. They actually just bought a new camp not too long ago in Oregon. And our kids will go there and participate with them in that wonderful, wonderful job. Wonderful job. And speaking of support, this is our time of conscious giving. If you feel so called and moved, you will see on your screen that there are numerous ways in which you can, in fact, make a financial contribution. We are an independent ministry, so every nickel, dollar, and dime is going straight into our programming. We don't have a lot of hierarchy or administrative things, where the money's going straight into the ministry work that we're doing. You can use the QR code that's there with your mobile app. You can use PayPal or any credit card, debit card of your choice. You'll have an opportunity to select whether you want to make this recurring, monthly, or some sort of an annual contribution. I want to encourage you to consider that. If you're online, you can go straight to innerlightministries.org and donate there. Cash App as well. You'll see there numerous different ways. And I just want you to know that you are blessed by your own giving. Okay, the universe loves a cheerful giver, and you receive with the same graciousness in which you give. This is true for everything from love, forgiveness, money. This is how the universe works. So we're going to bless these offerings right now, knowing that they are truly coming from the deepest place of sincerity. And regardless of where any of these funds have been or what they've been used for before, by this contribution right now, it is now all purged and cleansed and purified for holy purpose. And if you can, I invite you to say after me, my every act produces abundance. I dare to give freely unto the truth that sets us free. I release this gift, knowing it returns to me thousandfold. Thank you. Thank you for that. And shout out to Kim Clark for holding it down for us on July the 9th for our monthly in-person gathering that we do. Our next one will be first Sunday, which is August the 6th. We're at the Resource Center for Nonviolence at 3:00. But I want to invite you to come early at 1:30. We're going to have with us the music writer, singer, composer, Jamie Lula. He's going to be doing a healing workshop with us at 1:30 and then participating with us in our in-person event along with our band and our praise team at 3:00. That's on Ocean Street, close to Soquel Avenue near downtown Santa Cruz. We'd love to see you there. And, you know, our motto is take this consciousness and multiply it. And I'm going to bring back Faith Rivera to close us out.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Talking about that peace. That's right. Set your spirit free, y'all.
If we want to make a change, be the change we seek. If we get this thing called love, turn the other cheek, spin the world all upside down, maybe then we'll see another way to be. If we're gonna have this dream, wait to make it real. If I'm marching for some peace, start at home with me. If we soothe the war inside, to bring some harmony with a point where it begins. Shanti Amani, Pache Shalom.
Talking about that peace. That's right. Yeah. Set your spirit free, y'all.
Shanti Amani, Pache Shalom.
Talking about that peace. That's right.
People say it's Judgment Day, time for us to choose. We can win together now, but separately we'll lose. Given to the doubt and fear, we'll show that heaven's here. With every word we say, with every move we make, with every breath we take. Shanti Amani, Pache Shalom.
Talking about that peace. That's right. Yeah. Set your spirit free, y'all.
Shanti Amani, mind with light. Focus on the super you. It suits the world of two. Join our peace, love, and fun till the work of peace is done. 'Cause baby, we are one. Shanti, Harmony, punching shalom.
Talking about that peace. That's right. Yeah. It's so spirit free.